We are global citizens mapping the future.
We are here to present a summary of our agricultural innovations this SAGE year.
What is the school of the future? And what is the intellect of the future?
To make the change, we have found 4 concrete steps.
And we are the rollout Brain Savers.
Problems of poverty and hunger, secure world, pure water, clean energy, education, conservation of nature resources, development of economy, global partnership. Teenagers from all over the world present their ideas how to reach the UN Millennium Development Goals.
SAGE program, non-profit international education program which training students social entrepreneurship and how to management socially responsible business, faith, social, economical, demographical, ecological and other trends. SAGE Global, international socially oriented non-profit organization under the auspices of national and continental coordinator center SAGE, officially representative location in region. On the annual competition SAGE, teams from different countries present their startups classed of the UN Millennium Development Goals. In the World Cup, 8 prizes awarded to competitors whose business maximally corresponded to the Millennium Goals. Special Ambassador of SAGE, politician, founder of Fund Africa Rising, grandson of Nelson Mandela, Ndaba Mandela tells that these goals can be achieved only through cooperation between the state and business, only through common efforts of the world society.
I believe this is one of the most important competitions for young people because it teaches young people from an early age to have a business mind. You see, in today's world, we have so many kids coming out of school, coming out of university, looking for jobs, but there's not enough jobs to take care of the amount of kids that are coming out of school. So we need to make sure that kids have the opportunity to start their own businesses, and especially when you look at developing countries like South Africa and many of the East European countries, they need to be having entrepreneurial minds in order so they can create opportunities and empower the rest of their people. Governments and corporates are no longer able to take care of the amount of kids that are actually coming out of university.
Well, I think young people too often are not given a voice. Too often young people are not given a platform, and young people, I mean, they make up a sizable portion of our world population. Their voice needs to be heard, their innovation needs to be seen.
Each year, SAGE organizes and hosts a series of regional and national tournaments where teams of SAGE teens showcase their SRBs and SEBs to a panel of influential members from the business, civic and education communities. After the national championships, the winners going to World Cup, which is held every year in different countries. Participations in the SAGE program gives young people a unique experience. They learn how to create and implement innovation ideas presenting their work at the international grade. On the World Cup, there are coordinators and mentors of teams from different countries. They take part in the evaluations to the works by acting as a judge. SAGE Global is an international non-profit corporation dedicated to teenage entrepreneurs. Youth Entrepreneurship Program bridges 2 divides. The first divide is among secondary education, higher education and the private sector. The second divide is across countries, one that prevents international cooperation at a time when such cooperation is crucial. Global challenges such as environmental sustainability, alternative energy and transportation, and problems caused by global climate change pose common threats. Entrepreneurs with a global worldwide see such threats as opportunities. In today's increasingly complex world, cross-cultural cooperation in entrepreneurial ventures can raise standards of living if the right environment is created. One way to create such an environment is to focus on one key stakeholder, teenagers, for it is youth who have the most at stake. Founded in 2002, SAGE is an international network dedicated to creating the next generation of entrepreneurial leaders whose innovations and social enterprises address our world's major unmet needs. SAGE is pioneering the field of youth entrepreneurship.
My name is Kurt DeBerg, and I'm the founder and CEO of SAGE, Students for the Advancement of Global Entrepreneurship, where our mission is to create the next generation of entrepreneurial leaders whose innovations address some of the world's most urgent problems. No other program combines our three key components: mentoring, competition, and curriculum.
SAGE mission: to help create the next generation of entrepreneurial leaders whose innovations and social enterprises address the major unmet needs to our global community. SAGE vision: creating better futures through social enterprises, socially responsible business, and community service. The first SAGE World Cup was held in May 2003 with teams from Poland, Mexico, Tajikistan, and the United States. The program has now grown to include 7 US states and 26 more countries. There are more than 11,500 teens participating in SAGE programs at over 1,000 schools around the world. SAGE connects teens with higher education and the business community in a powerful public-private partnership. For 14 years of SAGE unites teenagers for all continents. The number of participants of the World Cup will soar every year, and by 2020th year, organizers set an ambitious task for themselves: to increase the number of member countries to 50.
We have already influenced over 30 countries all over the world, and we believe in the future 5 years we will involve more countries.
It is nice to see that every year we have new countries coming, we have new teams coming, we have the judge board expanding, and it leaves a feeling that we can actually one day be all over the world in every country.
In the 2016th year, the World Cup of SAGE takes place in Manila on Philippines. 24 countries, 31 teams. Event scale amazing. SAGE Middle East, SAGE Southeast Asia, SAGE South America, SAGE Russia, SAGE North America, SAGE Europe, SAGE Asia. Representatives of 24 countries gathered. Such cultural diversity is rare where it is possible to meet. The youth actively communicates to share with each other the brightest features of the national cultures, souvenirs, entertainments. In such multicultural atmosphere, there passes day of the country in SAGE 2016 World Cup. After acquaintance of participants of the championship, they have a cultural part in the program for sure. The first day was devoted to a travel across Manila, the capital of Philippines. Participants visited the park and Rizal's Museum, the father of the Philippine nation, the colonial area intramuros with the Spanish fort, got acquainted with the life in the traditional estate of the notable Filipino. But their acquaintance with the sights of Philippines didn't end. After the intense competitions, SAGers carry out unforgettable rest on the bank of Pico de Loro.
I think this place is really beautiful. It's got lots of pretty green scenery. The weather is nice, and I am having lots of fun.
Pico de Loro is really nice. The scenery is beautiful. These mountains, these palm trees.
The beach is like so pretty. And I'm gonna do a photo shoot now.
This place is hella cool.
Nice!
I've got some previously disadvantaged learners from South Africa. Some of them have never left their hometowns, and for them to experience luxury like this, it was just something that they'd never forget.
After such rest, it is a high time to look at performances of delegations. This action began with a parade of the countries, as it is differently possible to present and transmit spirit of the country. Song, dances, riddles and the dramatized performances. Among participants there are also beginners. This year, Israel, Iran, Latvia, Chile, Thailand joined a big family of SAGE.
It's our first time that Israel come to this beautiful, amazing competition. We are very exciting. I'm sure we will continue a long time from this moment take part in this important global education project.
Iran can participate more and more, and with different teams, with different people, and with more students.
In such atmosphere, strong international friendship is born, and dreams and purpose become collective.
It's very important for all of us to meet each other, to provide good and very ecological atmosphere for growing up our kids. It's very important for students, it's very important for best teachers from all over the world, and it's very important for businessmen.
An important part day of the country, the draw ceremony becomes the final. All participants are divided into 4 leagues. The final is reached by only one team from each league. Winners will be defined among the finalists, but about it in the following part of the movie. Why is SAGE so exciting? Participating teens use their creativity and innovation to start business and social enterprises that address unmet needs. They are assisted by university students who mentor them, and at the end of each school year, business leaders are recruited to serve as judges at competitions.
Чемпионат мира, который ожидается, конечно же, это событие.
The World Championship is certainly an event which each person, each child should test in their life. Best of the best very quickly grow up and become good and successful businessmen. And this is one of their steps which they do to this success. We want that each child has realized that today is not simply a wonderful chance in a life, but a big celebration as well, which should be remembered for all life.
Праздник, который должен запомниться на всю жизнь.
You can see with your own eyes how the new generation of businessmen creates. Continuity plays a key role. Carol Furtado, Global as a mentor, event planner, executive secretary, CFO, vice president and is currently senior vice president, tells.
I think it's important to mobilize youth because I think they're not afraid to take risk. When we're older, we say, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't," but the youth, there's no thought of failure, and their ambitions and their ideas, there's no limit. And I think we need to encourage their creativity and support them.
Anybody out there, if you want to give young people a voice, if you want to give them a future, if you want to give them a platform, if you want to give them an opportunity, SAGE does that.
Problem 1. Polluted environment. The pollution of the environment produces toxins and creates oxidative chemical reactions in the person's body. What can I do? How can I help her?
The solution is HeartWatch. HeartWatch is a 24/7 heart monitoring system with the capability to automatically contact EMS when the user is in distress.
People regard technology as just a technology that consists of small balls that act as a source of energy.
Leaves to leaves and roots to roots, in a sure and certain hope of the resurrection unto eternal life.
This is the moment when the teams represent their country's intellectual potential before the venerable jury. All startups are presented in 2 categories: socially responsible business and social entrepreneurship. Social responsible business. focused on business, aims and revenue, allocates the social aspect, how business bears the social usefulness of society. For example, the creation and active participation in charitable projects, the use of ecologically pure raw materials, etc. Startups in the category of socially responsible business are evaluated in terms of the following criteria: creativity and innovation, economic efficiency and viability of the project, an expression of social and civic responsibility, compliance with the concepts of suitable development in the context of a modern market economy, development strategy for startups, evaluation of responses to questions raised by team members of the jury. The business elite of the world selects the best startups guided by the generally accepted rules and unchanged assessment. A program like SAGE focuses on training young entrepreneurs because for many their creative energy hasn't been dumped by life's harsher realities. More than one-half of the world's people live below the internationally defined poverty line of $2 a day. Also, more than half the world's population is under the age of 30. SAGE believes that teens can take a lead role in helping to alleviate poverty through their innovations and creativity. Category Social Entrepreneurship satisfies the needs of society through the products and services or by hiring people from vulnerable social groups. This social enterprise can be represented by commercial or non-profit sector equally. Criteria for estimating startups in the category of social entrepreneurship: meaningful social impact of the project, the use of attracted resources, the manifestation of social and civic responsibility, development strategy, answers to additional questions from judges. Which current social problems affecting the new generation of entrepreneurs? That are protection of the environment, security, health and education. Young people in their presentations provide new ways to solving problems. They call for the cooperation of representatives of the business community and government of those countries that they represent.
You see, the Nigerian government, under the leadership of our past president and the current president, Muhammadu Buhari, sees entrepreneurship as a platform that young ones, teenagers, can ride on. And that is why when we were even coming here to Manila, Philippines, he approved the trip and he approved money for us because he sees SAGE as an important tool to be used to reduce poverty in Nigeria.
Youth offers cooperation under the slogan "Think globally, act locally." And this is one of the tasks pursued by the creators of the international movement SAGE. The combination of business, entrepreneurship and social enterprise provides a formula for a new kind of capitalism, a more humanitarian capitalism. This new form of capitalism is also espoused by Microsoft founder Bill Gates. According to Gates, governments and non-profit groups have an irreplaceable role in helping the world of poor, but it will take too long if they try to do it alone. It is mainly corporations that have the skills to make technological innovations work for the poor. To make the most of those skills, we need a more creative capitalism, an attempt to stretch the reach of market forces so that more companies can benefit from doing work that makes more people better off. We need new ways to bring far more people into the system capitalism that has done so much good in the world.
We're an organization full of creative entrepreneurs from all over the world, from the ages of 13 all the way through people who are retired and are coming back to give back. So when you put together 300 creative minds that are full of energy and motivation, it doesn't matter if it doesn't go as planned because we're going to make it work. Our own Senior Vice President, Carol Furtado, our little special title for her is whatever it takes, because that's just what you do. When you know you've got a job to get done, you find a way to get it done. And every year, SAGE Global and the host nation, such as the Philippines this year, we find a way to get it done.
And every year, more and more socially responsible entrepreneurs from around the world connect to the idea of a global partnership, actively supporting the new format of international cooperation. With a growing number of teams increasing the number of regional coordinators, representatives of business who want to support the initiatives of young people around the world. You can see the finalists: 4 commands in a category Social Business and 4 startups in a nomination Socially Responsible Business.
Our stage, World Cup, first place, SRB 2016, goes to Nigeria.
In this year, the first place in the Cup of World Stage in a category Socially Responsible Business was received with a command from Nigeria.
I feel so glad today.
A little bit happy today.
Oh, words cannot express my feelings.
We are honored, so happy.
State Nigeria is very dynamic. This is the 10th time State Nigeria is winning the trophy. Next year, we're going to the moon.
Our World Cup champion, SEB Stage 2016, from Canada.
Command from Canada. It also celebrates a victory, having received the first place and the Cup of the World in a nomination The Social Responsibility. Children willingly tell an essence of idea of the business.
So we're Helpware Wearable Technologies. We develop a 24/7 wearable heart monitoring system that can tell when a user has a heart attack and contact CMS when they're in distress. So currently we work out of the Biomedical Zone, which is an incubator in a hospital back home in Canada, St. Michael's Hospital. And we're hoping that in the next year and a half we can start attaining our approval and then hopefully go to market to start saving people's lives.
For young people involved in SAGE is a powerful start to move further, make the projects perfect, generate new ideas and attract more people. During these days, 22 countries of the world were competing for the right to be named the best. But their most important victory is in uniting the efforts for the global cooperation and friendship in order to make this world better, kinder and happier for all.